In this video, I'll be sharing tips that helped me climb from Plat to Ascendant in one act. You can see here that in the middle of episode 4, act 3, I was Plat, and by the middle of episode 5, act 1, I reached Ascendant. Here's how I did it. Now the first concept I want to talk about is mentality. This is a big flaw that I see in many people's gameplay that stops them from climbing, or even worse, not being able to maintain their rank. To fully understand mentality, we need to look over the aspects of being overconfident and being too passive. Being overconfident could mean you're pushing without your team, or you're peeking risky angles where your team cannot trade for you. Take an instance where you're this attacker and you just went from showers, got a pick on A, and then decided to push up. This position right here is a little too aggressive and would be an example of being too confident. Your position is bad in this instance because you are exposed to multiple angles. Here, your team is in no position to trade for you if you die. On the other hand, not being confident at all will lead you to always being the last one alive without helping your team, afraid to take aggressive angles or plays, and instantly crouch spraying every fight. Now that we have these aspects established, the first point I want to talk about is do not blame your team. I cannot stress this enough because I see so many people talk about, oh, my team is garbage, or team diff. Like, why? You only get the same team once, but you get the same you every time you queue for a game. So why not improve yourself, then try to improve some random teammates that you'll probably only see once? To combat this, I suggest that after every death or round loss, you should reflect on what you could have done so that you wouldn't have died or lost the round. Though this method allows you to see more of your individual mistakes, it can cause you to blame yourself too much, which isn't good. Blaming yourself too much causes low confidence, which leads to poor performance because you don't believe in yourself. At the same time, however, blaming your team too much allows for your poor performance and bad habits to continue, thus making an RNG game of whose team is better. Between blaming your team or yourself, there needs to be a silver lining between the two where you can reflect on both your individual performance as well as your team. This is called analytical thinking. If you are able to master analytical thinking, you will 100% look at the game differently and improve at a much faster rate. Another point I want to talk about is that the number of kills you have is not the end-all be-all. This isn't COD anymore, where someone's KD determines their skill level. Valorant is a tactical shooter that relies on you using abilities and working with your team towards a common goal, winning. Getting high kills could mean that you baited your teammates, or you played selfishly for your own life. Having low kills could mean you are still getting value with your utility and getting trades. Mainly what I'm trying to say is that you should not base the amount of kills you or a teammate has to how good you or they are. This could lead to not having high confidence in your games, which can affect you negatively. Instead, we should be looking at whether our own actions contributed to adding value to the rest of the team. Moving on to the next core concepts, we will be talking about mechanics. Here is where we talk about physical skills that will further improve yourself as a player. First off, an important key to improving in Valorant is knowing the game. Now, what do I mean by knowing the game? I'm talking about game sense, the ability to predict your opponent's actions based on prior knowledge gained from both throughout that specific game and your time playing Valorant as a whole. Since this is such a big topic to handle in today's video, I'll be making an exclusive video later on going more in depth about the topic. Consider subscribing and or having the notification bell turned on for when that video comes out. Alright, next on our list is the absolute bread and butter of game mechanics, and that is fundamentals, such as your movement, your crosshair placement, and positioning. Please, please, please do not brush over your fundamentals because you will need to master them before being able to start doing kind of anything. Crosshair placement I won't go super into as there has been many other videos talking much more about it, but just make sure you're always looking at head height and predicting where the enemy's head will be. Your movement does not need to be on the level of prod or flights, but as long as you're working to be comfortable moving efficiently around maps, then you should be alright. Lastly, your positioning is really important to knowing where you should be in a situation to give yourself and your team the highest chance of winning the engagement. All of these fundamentals should be ingrained into your head and should be second nature to you on a level where you can instinctively pull it off while under pressure. A problem I see many people, including myself sometimes doing, is trying way too hard to perfect your aim on a level like this. While having good aim is something you should strive for, other aspects of your gameplay will drive you further than aim will do. Your aim will develop naturally as you focus on game sense, positioning, and movement. Now, moving on from mechanics, the last major concept I want to talk about is communication. To reiterate, this is a team-based shooter, so work with your team to coordinate plays or keeping them updated on what you are and aren't doing. You should never expect that your teammates know what you want to do, so talk to them and formulate a plan. Alright, I'll stop now. I've spoken way too much. Hopefully, taking what I learned and applying it into your own games, you will be able to climb at any rank you desire. I know I'm still in the process of perfecting these concepts myself, but I hope that I was able to shed light on a new way of looking at and improving in Valorant. Have an amazing rest of your day, and hopefully, I'll see you at the top.